Okay, so first of all is that I finally decided to upgrade my macOS. I was like, okay, I don't have anything like too pressing right now. I can probably just update my computer, and if something is broken, I have some time to fix it. That was the plan. Yeah, so I was able to update it. I was able to update OBS as well. So today I'm trying like new OBS version. So hopefully that's kind of like going okay. And yeah, it completely broke all of my like terminals. So like for some reason everything is in SH right now, and like I have no idea how I can fix it. Yeah, so I'm trying to run Bash. It's like which is showing some warnings. So like I have no idea. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and by default it's SH, and like I changed it 100 times, it's still like SH instead of Bash. Like I don't know. Uh, I also wanted to try that one pass SSH agent. The idea is that when you're running SSH commands, instead of like typing your password, you can like use your fingerprint and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I couldn't make it work. And I'm not that invested into trying to figure out why it doesn't work. But yeah. So I also had this issue. Um, yes, this is the easiest way to show it. Yeah, so like the website was just like giving out 500s, and basically because Astro does like one serverless function for the whole website, basically everything that wasn't pre-rendered was just 500s. And I don't know what happened. I know that it was caused by image integration. It's like experimental right now, and I don't know, like the error message is just kind of like useless. And uh, I updated Astro itself. I was thinking that I might need to update like Vercel integration, but I didn't have to, and yeah, it just started working. So yeah, uh, fun times. And yeah, so now I want to do so this prompts link. It could take some time for it to kind of like to for load the data, and I wanna I wanted to make it um, uh, to make it interactive somehow, because otherwise you're like clicking on it and like nothing happens. Yeah, so I did it so it has like the same um, outline. I should create different outline. That's that's the story. And I also need to figure out how to use Delvint merge. Like every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, is it worth like 10 or like whatever the kilobytes it is? Yeah, 20 kilobytes ungzipped and 7 kilobytes gzip. I mean, that's in terms of other like CSS and JS solutions, right? That's not that bad. Um, but yeah, uh, I mean, I don't have to use it here, and that was the story. I was like, okay, I don't have to use it. I can do it a bit later. And there is also like one other issue is that this overview section, it's not selected on the on production. It's always like silly how Astro how big of a difference is Astro in production and Astro in development. So you can't like debug that kind of stuff. So it's like, hey, I'm on this page. Why is it not active, right? So the funny thing is that if I click on it later, it's active. So I don't know. It's possible that it's like I have some issues with SSR. So uh, so here it's yeah, it's not. Yeah, but I don't have any like hydration warnings. I don't know. It's like it's not active on the server. It is active on the client if I click on it. But I guess yeah. So and the problem is that like locally, I don't know how to reproduce that. It's like it's always active. It's everything works normally. So I don't know. And when I SSR it, yeah, it's active on SSR. And uh, and I still have no idea how to run previews, like local previews of. Uh, so I'm creating that like per cell folder, but how do I run it locally? I have no idea, and I didn't see anything kind of like in Astrodocs for this. So yeah, I don't know. Um, so I don't know how to fix this overview stuff, but what I want to fix, yeah, it's like for production, it's kind of like pretty noticeable when you click on this thing. It could take like some time. Yeah, so I want to mark it as active somehow. Okay. Yeah, so it's like it's not that complicated. So they give you is active and is pending class. So I don't like that a lot of code is duplicated here, and that was the reason why I was like, okay, should I should I do uh, the tailwind merge to so that I don't have to think about all of those classes? But I don't know. So this is what I'm going to look into now. Okay, so it's time for break. They are doing something noisy over there. I don't know if you can hear it. But okay, finally turned on source maps. And yeah, thanks for the share comment. So I finally turned on source maps, and yeah, like most of our application is just that analytics stuff. Uh, so this is React and this is React DOM, which is what is maybe like a half of our application, 40% yeah, 41% I guess is like using Webpack. No, so I guess could be like a good introduction, uh, good time to do like introduction of what I'm actually doing. Um, so I'm working on b2b saaskit.com. which is kind of like a starter template for people who want to build an application. If that makes sense. It's like, hey, I want to do something, and like I don't know where to start, and this is like here, start here. And we are using Astro and React, and the idea is I want to put like Solid somewhere there, but I just like didn't find a way yet. Um, but uh, with Astro, you get kind of like what's the best way to describe it? It's pretty noisy right now. Uh, so a lot of people have used Next.js. Yeah, so Next.js is like default one. But the problem with Next.js is that with Next.js you can't go. I want to like Excalibur draw it. Uh, okay, okay. Uh, so here's the graph, and this is like I don't know how I want to call it, but say like price. And I don't know how I want to say it, like mental. And uh, and this is kind of like complexity of the app. So the idea is that usually if you're starting with, I don't know, HTML, uh, you're starting kind of like here, almost at the zero. So if your app doesn't do anything, it's going to have like one HTML tag. It's going to be like hello world. And there is nothing that you kind of like had to opt into to get there. But as soon as you start building kind of like a complicated app uh, with just like plain HTML, plain JavaScript, your line is going to be like really is going to go up really quickly. Should draw a legend somewhere. Is it vanilla? I always put up. Okay, so here's kind of like the idea. So yes, so the next thing is that you can get uh, like Next.js, not Next.js, but like let's say create React app, and your or like V, it doesn't matter, like just any kind of like simple thing that like everyone uses. It has like much higher initial value, but it's going to grow in complexity much slower. I'm running out of my touchpad. So it's I would say that like this crossover line, it's happening uh like these days when you need to figure out like all the fonts and all the like that kind of like stuff pretty it's happening pretty quickly. It's like you're making your second page and you're like, oh, but how do I like reuse that? And it's like, okay, at some point you should probably do uh, kind of like simple app, simple SPA, we will call it. So the problem with Next is that it's kind of like starting here. It's like kind of like as complicated as possible. And because this line is kind of like steep enough, I might even like move it kind of like higher to kind of like illustrate my point. uh, so Next.js is going to be like slope is going to be lower than SPA, because in SPA you will have, so it will like uh, it will cross at some point. Let's say process here. So it's kind of like you can start writing like a bigger SPA, and you're like, oh, but I need to lazy load, I need to do some stuff on the server. It's like, oh, it will become complicated, but at the start it feels simpler. And uh, want to probably put it a bit. I'm like coming up with all of this stuff on this spot, so it's not going to look pretty. Uh, but it will cross out at some point, and you're like, hey, maybe if you're working on a team, maybe it's better to start with Next.js right away and not wait for all of those problems to happen. So, okay, now I don't know how to select this thing. Okay, so this is going to be Next.js. And my thinking is that uh, I like Astro, and Astro is, in a sense, it's like the starting point for Astro is actually lower than for SPA if you are starting with like HTML expectations, if that makes sense. I know that like not everyone starts there, but it's like if you only done HTML before, you will like understand that pretty quickly. I think technically it goes a bit. Uh, hmm, I don't know what kind of like is going to be more true. So I think there are like two ways of using Astro. I think I'm going to just draw like both of them, and I will explain why. So this and this. So like both of those lines are going to be Astro, but it's going to be like with kind of like caveats. Uh, okay, need to move this a bit. Okay, so you could be building kind of like a site with Astro or app with Astro, and that's kind of like the difference. If you're building a site, it's actually like really easy, and it's so close to like how just like HTML works, so you don't have to like think too much. And the line where the line where HTML and Astro cross over, it basically happens right away, and it's like it's so it's so much easier to do such like a simple things in HTML. So it's like, yeah, just start with Astro. It's like this doesn't make any sense to start with HTML. They're basically kind of like the same. um, but what I'm doing is like I'm using Astro to write apps. So it's probably going to be like a bit more complicated than just regular SPA. But again, you can there are like multiple ways of using Astro. But my thing is that Astro, in terms of complexity, it's kind of like, I don't know, like twice as simple as Next.js, even if you're building app. And because in Astro you can build kind of like different architectures for different routes, it's like most of your app could be like here. Not most of your site, I mean, like the kind of like static parts. They could be here, so they could be like just like way simpler than Next.js, and you don't have to like even kind of like think about it. And I'm kind of like this y-axis is like a bit funny because it's like it's bundle size and mental, and it's like just depending on what I'm talking about, like I'm choosing different ones. So it's like in terms of HTML, it doesn't it's probably not going to be like the bundle size that's going to kill you. It's just like the mental overhead of like writing your own framework in a sense. But in Next.js, it's actually like at the start, mental overload is not that big of a problem, but just like the bundle size, just like, hey, I'm paying so much in terms of like in terms of technical complexity of my solution. So like at the start, like using it is not going to be that complicated, but just like the amount of stuff that you're sending over the wire. But it's like, yeah, but this is having so many it has so many features, that's why it's so big. But it's like, yeah, but I'm not using so many features. So this is kind of like how I look at kind of like modern apps, modern like JavaScript frameworks. And so for me, that's why Astro kind of like makes more sense, because it's you can live your whole life like here in on the bottom and just like write a blog, and it's going to be like way simpler than everything else. Yeah. But I'm actually living here, so I'm actually I kind of like crossed that line for the SPAs, and I'm like, okay, I was doing everything in SPA, but now I want to do like stuff, even kind of like more complicated stuff. I want to still do it in Astro, and my thing is like it's not doesn't have the requirements where like Next.js would make sense, because for me it's just like, yeah, but like once everything is will become that complicated, I could just like use solid start inside of Astro, if that makes sense. It's like I will, or like 10 stack start, like I will use just like different Astro tools to get most of the way of like what Next.js gives me. But like I'm not there yet, so it's like for me it doesn't make sense to jump to Next.js, and I have kind of like a plan how to deal that how to deal with that with Astro. I convince you to try Astro. Good. Yeah. So the thing about Astro is that if you go to their website, they're like, okay, we don't know what apps are. We're building kind of like static site generation things. So it's like if you look at this graph, it's like, hey, I'm building my blog with Astro. I'm building my blog with Gatsby. I'm using Next.js, kind of like SSG. I'm building my blog with WordPress. I'm building my blog with Next. They're not talking about apps here. They're talking about kind of like more simpler things. And again, if you're writing a blog, you're going to be like pretty happy because it's basically like the simplest and kind of like you will start kind of like right away. But my thing is that like this quote, yeah, Astro is marketed for sites, but I'm just going to use it as as like as the platform. So this is kind of like my thing. I'm using Astro just a way to compile my things to deploy them to production, if that makes sense. And I just like build kind of like different experiences in Astro. And so for example, this website, it just like it has zero JavaScript apart from like analytics and stuff. So it's just uh, it's just this page, it's just these images. But again, because I'm using Astro, I can use like Astro image integration where it's just like resize these images and all that stuff. Like, and I don't have to send 200 kilobytes of Next.js just to get this one feature, right? The image tag. Like if I would have written this page in Next.js, why do I pay 200 kilobytes if the only feature that I'm going to use is image optimization? It's like it's not worth it to save like 50 kilobytes of images and to send 200 kilobytes of JavaScript. It's like it just look crazy. Like images are much more optimized for browsers, so it's like even if I'm going to send like 2 megabytes of images, it's not going to be as kind of like taxing as 200 kilobytes of JavaScript. Yeah. So so that's the idea. Is like um, we are building kind of like a production ready, kind of like app ready, so you can build kind of like anything. And starting with Astro, that allows you to build like static things. So they provide you with like everything that you need for static stuff, and we're helping you how to start building kind of like an app on top of that. So we're writing this app, Prompts with Friends. It's all open source, so you can just like look at it. We're writing this app that the idea behind the app was kind of like, yeah, you can create prompts and like share them, but like it doesn't matter. We had like different ideas, and the idea is like not important. We just need to have like some kind of features in it. And so here I have some prompts, and I can like edit them. I can like generate responses from bot and so on. So this application is written with React Router, but we're using SSR as well. So if you're clicking on this like prompts link, it will go and like get the prompts before showing you the page. This is like just like loaders in. This is how loaders in React Router work. So you can build this kind of like remix like experience. And again, if I refresh the page, I can wait for the server to get the data, and I don't see like any loading indicators. It's loading like spinners. It's just like, hey, here it is. I got the information from the server. So this is kind of like our remix, kind of like demo, if that makes sense. It's like, yeah, so the stuff that you would have used remix for, you can just build most of that stuff here. And so I have this kind of like completely SPA thing. So it doesn't do anything on the server. If you refresh it, you will see like the empty page. Okay. I need to like make network slower. Okay, so empty page. Loading indicators, and we got the data. So this is like this is most of what people are building right now. You don't have to think about server. You don't have to like fix like SSR issues or all of that stuff. It's like, yeah, I don't care about any of that stuff. Give me kind of like create React app, give me Vite kind of like experience. I just want to build my thing. And yeah, we just build it. Okay, so and what's the other one? Yeah, and we have this thing. That's the one that I started to work right now. I want to try that tool. Sure. Yeah, let me know how it goes. We're like still writing it, still writing docs and stuff. So it's like it's not finished. So like we haven't launched it yet. But yeah, if you have any feedback, yeah, just I don't know. I have a Twitter, so you can follow me on Twitter and complain if it doesn't work. um, yeah, so this page, it used to be completely like in HTML and uh, we were using Shoelace. This is like a UI library that is written in web components. So you have this like thing that you can like show and hide, and this is this is basically what we're doing here. So it's like, and yeah, we were playing with that. There were some issues with like I forgot which one, but like we're using React right now on this page, but I wanna go back to Shoelace or maybe like write my own web component for this, because it's like this page could be kind of like interactive but still don't have any kind of like any framework, if that makes sense. And I wanna kind of like try to make that work. I wonder if we have just like older version that is yeah, maybe I just have like an older branch that I can check uh, something like that. Can I search? Okay, up. No, this one's using new UI already. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is we had, yeah, I think that's the version that I was looking for. So this page, it doesn't have any kind of like any framework. It doesn't have React. It doesn't have anything. It just uses this shoelace thing. If you look at the code, okay, where is it? Shoelace detail. Yeah. So it's just like, hey, this is a web component, and you can show this. You can show this title, so it's like secret management, so on. I guess user identification. Yeah. So it will show the title, but then if you click on it, it will show you like this HTML. And like it's pretty easy to kind of like author this stuff. And it's like, yeah, we just have content collection with markdown files, and we just like list all of those markdown files, and we just like, instead of just showing HTML, like the whole HTML, or instead of showing like HTML details tag, we're showing shoelace details tag. And that's that. In terms of like in terms of that graph that I was showing, this is like this is simpler than SPA. This is kind of like this is as simple as HTML, if that makes sense. Uh, yeah, so I would say that this is kind of like on this cross. So it's like you can write all of that stuff in HTML, but it's like, yeah, but like where do you get the files from? It's like, yeah, from Markdown, but like how do you convert Markdown to HTML? Okay, I can have like a command that converts Markdown to HTML. how do I combine that HTML? It's like, yeah, it's probably it's probably going to be like easier to do it with Astro. Yeah, so in terms of JavaScript, like it doesn't have to be JavaScript. So there's just like HTML details tag. I hate this website, but it's like it's so uh, yeah. So here it's like you press the button and it shows the content. It's like it doesn't use any JavaScript. It just this is the tag that it uses. And for this page, we do use some JavaScript. So it's like a script tag. So like this. So we're downloading this um, from shoe. We're downloading this component from shoelace. So instead of using native details, we're using shoelace details. But yeah, and I guess we're doing this to make sure that it's like the CSS looks good. But yeah, like it's how do I say it? This page has basically kind of like zero JavaScript that we wrote. If you're writing this in Next.js, you have to like use state or something like that, right? You need to create a component, or you're going to use existing one. And it's like you need to connect it, you need to download all of it, install it, and all that stuff. And it's like, was that kind of like interaction like this, was that worth, I don't know, like 200 kilobytes that you had to send? It was Next.js. It's like, why can't this be kind of like as simple as this? So yeah, I don't remember what we have like. Do we have anything like fun? Yeah, solid. I need to keep solid open. I have some plans. So I think we had some demos, but I don't remember what demos were about. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it's basically like backend demos. It's not that interesting. Anyway, that was a good tangent. That was like why I like Astro, and it's because it allows me to build any website that I want. Yeah. So like on the Astro website, they talk about like 0 kilobytes JavaScript a lot. I don't think it's like its goal by itself to get to 0 kilobytes. Well, again, they don't think it's a goal as well, but it's like it's cool that you are starting. You are when you're writing Astro, you will only have the stuff that you added yourself, if that makes sense. So it's like you're starting. You're starting basically at zero. So it's like the if you're creating a simple page that has hello world, it's going to be basically as simple as if you were writing plain HTML. And because like I want to use a lot of that stuff, uh, I want to have like this page, and when I click on prompts, I want to like have this like loading indicator like on the nav bar and all that stuff. Like I want to do all of that stuff. That's why I'm downloading like all the libraries that I need. But I'm not downloading anything like I don't use yet, if that makes sense. So it just feels right for me to use something like that that allows me to build stuff kind of like as complex as I want when I need it. And just because I use React Router here doesn't mean that I need to use it here. And like if we're talking about like even Remix, which is or like SvelteKit, which are like pretty like lean, pretty small compared to like Next.js. It's like yes, but I can't easily like write Svelte application uh, where I want to have like completely kind of like simple page, like completely static page. I would have to jump through some hoops to do that. I think in Remix they're like, hey, just like don't send the script tag from a page that doesn't require script tag. But it's like, yeah, like how easy is it to set up? Here, I just like don't use anything, and I get I get only the stuff that I need. It's kind of like opt in, opt out, like mentality, if that makes sense. What are the cons of Astro? Okay, so here's the cons of Astro. Do you have Astro here? No. Okay, so let's go to Astro and let's go to, I don't know, Remix, right? Is Astro more downloaded more than Remix? Oh, that's strange. Uh, is it Svelte or SvelteKit? I always forget. But I'm looking for. Is it this one? Yes. So this is the graph. Those are the cons of Astro. Astro is so small compared to Next, or I guess like create. It's like React scripts. Yeah. So Next just overtook Create React app in downloads. So it happened. Uh, I don't know. Let's say like a half a year ago. And Astro is just like it's just starting. So I think the other big one is like Vite, React. Okay, I always forget how to type it. Plugin. Oh yeah, it's Vite plugin.js. Okay, so Vite plugin.js. Okay, so uh, so this is like a popular way to write React apps right now. It's to use Vite instead of create React app, and yeah, just all of those options are just like way more popular than Astro. Basically, kind of like at this point, there are not too many people who are doing applications in Astro, and it's going to change, of course, but like yeah, so far it's kind of like not comparable, right? So it's like 10 times the difference. um so the this is going to change, I think, because ten stack is working on a tone stack start, which is like this one. It's not clickable yet, so it's like it's just like there if you know where the GitHub repo is. Do you know some website that use Astro? I think yeah. So they have some stuff on their website. I don't remember. I don't remember where it is. Showcase. I don't think it's like it's sorted, but yeah, I knew about NordVPN. It's like it's not the whole NordVPN. It's nordvpn.org. They have nordvpn.com. So this one is I think in React, but they have this one in Astro. Uh, Firebase blog. Okay, I don't really kind of like looked into that. I remember about NordVPN because it was like a news item at some time. Guardian engineering. I don't know what that means. uh, yeah, I don't know. And those websites are like not apps. It's like, hey, this is like my personal kind of like portfolio. This is uh, kind of like website about my business or something. So it's like it's not huge stuff, and it's like it's not apps, if that makes sense. I think bundle.js is written in Astro. I don't remember. That's kind of like the happy thing that I know. Did they have a GitHub? Okay, I don't see the Astro config, so I could be wrong. Upgrade to Astro. Okay, so 2 years ago they upgraded to Astro. Does that mean they stopped using Astro or something? I didn't see Astro anymore, but I guess like previous version was written in Astro, and it's curious like why did they decide to change? Maybe they switched to like Solid Start or something like that. Yeah, and speaking of like 10 stack start is like 10 stack start and Solid Start. They're going to be using Astro as their kind of like a compilation layer or whatnot. So if you go to SolidJS, I guess start SolidJS. Oops. Yeah. So if you run solid at beta, it will install the new thing that is using Astro. So, but again, like solid is solid is like 10% of the Astro usage. So it's like it's way smaller compared to like Next.js, right? But I see where like this I see where this quote of like, yes, Astro is working on Astro, but it doesn't mean that they'll have like this thing that can make your like any application production ready. So, and I'm also like trying to to make Astro into apps space. Yeah. Yeah, so this is like the setup page. So right now it's like half of the page is just React bundle. It's like, why do I use that? Just to hide. Where is it? This is like the only interaction that it does. Like, do I need React for that? I can probably just write vanilla JavaScript for this, right? So it's uh, yeah. So what I'm working on right now is to log into this page. I'm using this like login form using Propel Auth, and we're going to use like login with GitHub. So this is what I'm going to work on. Yeah. Yeah, so just in terms of like the format of my streams, I stream on like two channels. So one is Parasocial Fix, and the other is Making Fix. So Making Fix is more like behind the scenes, is like where I just like do stuff, and the Parasocial Fix is my like real one. So yeah. So here I just have like my I guess it's not in the frame now. How do I show it in the frame? Yeah. So I have this like phone on a tripod, and I usually just like work and listen to music. Yeah. And the other thing about Astro that I like deliver on. Yeah. So this is like my setup. um, Other thing I talk about Astro is like, if you want to understand like React Server components, try to use Astro because Astro has like 90% of what React Server components do. Like Solid Start has 100% of what React Server components do. But it will explain you the same stuff, but just like in simpler terms. And then when you go back to like Next.js app directory and you're like, wow, this doesn't make any sense. Now you will know, oh, this part is just like Astra. Oh, this part is just like this. Oh, this part is just like Remix or something. So it's like it will just like, yeah, it will just show you the mechanisms, if that makes sense, kind of like in the simpler settings. Anyway, going back to music, I'm going to work on like tokens and stuff, so I don't want to share my screen. So this is like my way to not leak any tokens and stuff by using this over the shoulder camera. Okay, where's my music? It's I'm back. um, I've been working on GitHub integration, the login. The idea is that here on the login page, now we have sign in with GitHub, not just email stuff. I also think I also saw that we didn't do forgot password thing, and they don't have UI for that, so I have to like redirect to their page. But hey, now I can sign in with GitHub, and it happens. Now I'm in my GitHub thing. So I wrote some docs for that. Like, hey, how to set up GitHub. You don't need to restart the app or save anything in Doppler, just refresh the login page. It's a bit too wordy. I don't know how to say everything a bit nicer, but I think that's fine. Okay, so here's the thing. Add or got password link to login page, and for this one, add instructions how to set up GitHub or auth. Okay, so I think it's going fine. The thing we have is this like production deployment. So where we basically like where we basically duplicate everything that we do for regular stuff. Yeah, how to set up Bookbender, how to set up Supabase, Propel auth. Yeah. So I'm going to switch back to the over the shoulder camera because there are like a lot of keys and stuff that I don't want to leak. So okay, so let's do this. So what I'm doing right now is I have this page which is written in React, and it seems like it shouldn't be that complicated to rewrite that in something else, and that's what I'm trying to do. So we have this basically like one interaction. You can click on it, so it can show you the stuff inside. I want to do a bit more because I want to like I want it to be preserved when you refresh it for some pages. I want it to maybe like show different animations depending on like if you did stuff or if you skipped it. So I want to do like more of this, and I don't want to do it in React. So first thing that I did is so this is the React component. So I just saved it as Astro. So all the props became Astro props. Then then instead of like children, we have slot. And I removed all the on-click stuff because it's you can't do that in Astro. And I'm going to kind of like add it back. So the thing that I'm doing right now is those kind of like arrows, and the what I'm going to do is I'm going to just save it as Astro file again. So this SVG, I mean, I could probably do it as an image. I don't really know what's the best way yet, but yeah, it could take like a class thing. Fix using copilot. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I don't think it fixed it. Okay. So anyway, this is chevron. This is chevron right, and I also have chevron. So I mean, once we have copilot, maybe yeah. So let's do rewrite React component as Astro component. So did it do anything? No. What extension is this? Yeah, so this is like a whole story. So there is a GitHub chat something pilot chat. Yeah, so you need to like join the wait list first, and I did it like a long time ago, and it's like I just couldn't couldn't figure out how to use it. And what you get is you get like Copilot chat extension, but it's not released extension. So you have to like select the right select like pre-release version because you can't like switch to release. And moreover, it actually requires you to use vscode insider, which is kind of like a canary or whatever, the like kind of like unreleased version of vscode. And so like instead of code, you need to write code insiders instead of like yeah. So it's basically like a whole thing, and I'm not sure I will. Yeah, and exactly, you're already in. The only problem is that it doesn't work. You need to use VS Code insiders because I spend a lot of time like why is it not working? Yeah, so there is basically like a separate version, and I have like a separate icon which is like a green icon, and this is the old one. Oh, you have it. Oh, then you're golden. And yeah, It allows you to do stuff. So you can select something and you can do chat. Yeah, and you can say, and it works kind of like GPT. So I guess this one doesn't use the like the context that I provided, but yeah, it's not the right syntax. But you can do like stuff like copy it or insert into. So if you're like uh, if you're like function that sums array, so it can do this stuff, and you can just like hop and insert it right into your. Yeah, it didn't work. Okay, like that. So, and you can insert it right into your code. So instead of just writing it like that, it's like function that and so on. Because it has a dialog, you can like work on it before it inserts it, as opposed to it call a regular copilot. If you inserted it, it's like okay, now you have to like restart. But then you can like talk with it and explain what you're doing. So. Um, Speaking of what we are doing, so the first thing that we are doing is that we are doing props, and it's going to be just a class. And then we do const class is this. So it's astro.props. So we did this, and now we don't need any of this stuff. We need this stuff. So if we go here and just do React to HTML, there is like a converter thing. Yeah. So, okay, this is JSX2. Okay, that's VGZ. Okay, I need the other way around. I need JSX2 HTML. Okay, then I don't know where to get it. I'm going to clean my keyboard. Oh no. We've been in Thailand, and we had just kind of like a bad apartments where, yeah, I wonder if we actually need this like icons. There's probably just like CSS class that we could change, but I don't know. Yeah, so that end story. We basically like returned back to our apartments, and like everything like just everything counts. And I look at my computer, and it's like it's like inside my whole laptop. So like I opened the keyboard just to see what's going on underneath, and it's like yeah, they're like just everywhere. So that was fun. And we basically like complained uh to the people who were renting, and they're like, okay, it's like what's the big deal? Don't you like ants? And they we wanted to kind of like move out of there, and I think they just like I think they just like took our money and didn't return anything. uh, okay, so here's our thing. So we can now use those SVG icons. Yeah, I don't think this is like the right approach, what I'm doing right now, but just for the sake of it, it's like, hey, so we changed like one icon with the other. Okay, but it didn't work. Oh, interesting. So I wonder what am I doing wrong? Okay, so this is the SVG. Oh yeah, the class. There should be a class. I can just look in the yeah. So this should be the default class, and if I have the one right, it should be this one. Okay, yeah. So I have it like that, and if I change it, it's like the other way around. Okay. This is not as interesting right for now, but this is that thing. So now, in terms of like, uh, in terms of the stuff being actually expandable, yeah, I should probably just rotate with like some animation. Okay. So this is my like initial setup. Okay, so we don't need any of this stuff anymore. So this is my initial setup. It's a thing that allows you. So this code, first of all, is the way that Astro works. Okay, it's the way that Astro works is that even though this component is used multiple times, your scripts and CSS is like going to be applied only once. So this console log is only running once. So you don't have to kind of like, it's not like it's just like a string template. It's actually like kind of sense how to use components in Astro. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, so we're defining custom element. This is going to be like the thing that is going to give this like interaction. And the idea is, so like this step done, we can only get it from the server at this moment at least, so we don't have to do anything for it. What we should be doing is like this slot is only visible. It's probably like more than a slot. Yeah, the whole div is only visible if it's expanded. So one other thing that I want to try is to use this like a solid, like inline solid, if that makes sense, like without the compiler, because like rewriting it from React to Solid is kind of like too easy. I want to make it more challenging. Uh, so here's the thing that I want to try. So first is that that like, so this expanded was what we get from the server, but the setup step should have its own kind of like state, and the way that we can do it. So here we are rendering to the body, but we want to render to something else, and not entirely sure what yet. So the question is like, how do you organize it? So if I just do this, so if I render, you're getting render from solid. Yeah, so and the application is this thing. Okay, probably don't have to do that in class. Not entirely sure what's the right way, but it can return some HTML. And the count is let's say this. So we can create signal. Oh no. Yeah, it doesn't know where to get signal from. So it's just SolidJS. Okay. Cannot find name. Okay, what's the problem? Oh, right. Interesting. That makes so much sense. You have to be inside of the script. It's because it's like client side, right? I'm so silly. Yeah, and we need this. Yeah, we can get it from CDN, but it's not going to be like as fast. So okay. So what is happening? Document body. Right. So we wanted this. Okay, so I see 0 here. Okay. This is fun. Okay. That's okay. So if how do I add like on click? Yeah, there's no on click here. So on click equals console log 1 2 3. Okay, it worked. Okay, so I can set count to this, and I can actually set the count. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. So what I want to do, yeah. So the interesting part is that like it's easy to connect. It's easy to do that stuff if you're like going to destroy everything, but I don't want to destroy everything. I want to destroy just some of it. Okay, so I want to understand how I can get like kind of like the instance, if that makes sense. So if I pass, so this is like HTML element. Okay, I can probably even name it. So class setup app extends HTML and stuff. Okay, but now what I can do is I can try to do something like this. Okay, so now how do I pass props to app? So if I just call it like that, that enough? Okay, I see some error, but I don't know how that works. So in a console log, like console log props. Okay, so I'm getting the element that's actually happening. So what's the problem? Code is not a function. What code? What is going on? So at the element is document. Hmm. Okay. Okay, so how does render function work? SolidJS render. Okay, it's a function that returns this. Okay, so if we do this, okay. Okay, so I can pass this like, okay. I'm not sure I'm doing this right for now, but uh, so what I'm trying to do is, can I connect? Can I name this thing somehow? So I can name it, I don't know, chevron. Okay, it should start somewhere. Should start earlier. So I can create effect. And the point of effect is to connect the element. Yes, props. Element is add event listener. Click. Okay, so now I should be able to click on the whole thing and it would react. And I should be able to clean up as well. Okay. I don't know how cleanup is going to work, but so we have expanded, and we can do expanded, like toggle expanded, and now I click all of this stuff, and now I want to do like expanded animation. So we were using shoelace before, and there it's like this thing is spinning when you click on it. Yeah, interesting. It just, like, I guess CSS, it's getting turned with CSS, or yeah, it's icon. Yeah, but where is the actual like rotation happens? So okay, this is confusing. Okay, this one. Display none. Okay, so display none is fine, but how do you actually rotate it? How do you actually animate it? Okay. Let's go. Let's go look at the source code. So it's details. There's no transform. Interesting. Okay, so animations. Details show, details hide. But how do they turn the chevron? Because it's the same icon, the same slots. Handle summary click. Okay, I'll start with that. So this hide, this show. Handle change. Okay, stop animation. Animate. Get animation. Direction. Animate to. Roll height. Okay, so that's the details. Oh wait. Yeah, so I don't understand where they turning icons. Yeah, so yeah, so what they have is they have slots. Okay, so what if I did a slot? Oh, it's going to interfere with Astro, with the way that Astro does this, because that's like a prop. Yeah, so let me just show both icons, I guess, first. Okay, and the right way is for it to turn right. So maybe just one icon and data icon. Okay, so now I can find I can find a query selector icon. Yeah, something like that. So if I create an effect that does this, okay, inner HTML. So the inner HTML is not the right way. So the right way is to maybe it just have to be like the whole thing have to be just animation. So I don't do this at all. And what I do is I just set the okay. So what I do is just on the element itself, I just set expanded. Yes, what's wrong? Boolean is not assignable to string. Okay, so okay. Okay, so where's my okay? I'm not sure if that's the right way to do that. So I can do something like that. So it's expanded or like null or undefined. No, it gives it as a string. So if it's an empty string, okay, so if it expanded, do expanded, otherwise deleted. Yeah, so this is better. So now I can write a style tag, and the idea is that I can do I'm not sure what that is. Oh, did I lose everything? Where did it go? Okay, I lost. I lost the class name again. Why does this keep happening? Okay, so it should set class name to this. Interesting. Is that because I added style tag? Okay, fascinating. Okay. I didn't know that it works like that, but this is slightly bad. Yeah, I'm not sure what I should think about it, but okay for now. So what's the thing here? So what does this syntax even mean? To have icon here, it's like it doesn't pick up any of that stuff. So it's data icon, I think. Okay. Yeah, so here it picked it up. No, it didn't. Okay. So my data icon when it's data expanded. Yeah, nice. That's interesting. So what have happened? So I used solid only to I used solid to do this. I used solid to connect to event handler. So I don't have to do it in solid. I can do it from outside. Okay. Yeah, so far it's only this. Okay. I think we need solid docs anymore. Okay, so now the question is, yeah, they also do some like accessibility stuff that we are not doing yet. Yeah, and they're doing classes. So instead of doing this as like this selector, we could replace it with a class. But I kind of like the idea of like using classes for Tailwind and using some other stuff for some other stuff. Okay. So we can do this. Right. And we can also set like initial data expanded, I guess. So how would that look like? So data expanded equals expanded. If I do this, I need to turn on this probably now. Okay, so data expanded. And if it's false, it's not expanded. Okay. The initial value is actually right. It's interesting that here we have that expanded equals expanded, so we should be doing it like that. So it's the same from SSR. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, and then we can just do this. Now we don't have to import anything, and it's there. Okay, so what we're missing is the like closing up and down. This one, and okay, yeah. So this could have been like a render if you were doing everything. If you had like a server side rendering first. Now we need to like preserve the original element instead of rendering on top of it. Okay, yeah, and a click handler again is like we need to add it manually instead of yeah. Okay, so far I kind of understand what's happening. So now for the content. So it's details body. Okay, could be details body like that. And this is title, this is details body. So yeah, so this thing is clickable here. We don't want that, and previously we were yeah, we had on details body we had stop propagation. Which I guess not like a bad idea. So I wonder if we can do yeah. We're introducing different ways of doing stuff. So can just copy paste the same stuff and say body equals this, and then on body add event listener and event listener is going to be the top propagation. Okay, so body instance of HTML element. Okay, how do you write it? Okay, I guess this. At all, yeah. Fine. Okay. Okay, I think it worked. Yeah, it's a bit like wordy like that. And if we define a custom element, it's going to be like even even longer. Okay, so going back to our thing. Okay, so we don't need count anymore. And do it like that, and probably this one as well. Yeah, so the other way is just to do this. And it's not that bad. Oh, I guess not. Okay, so does it have to be a create effect? Probably. Okay, so we have some. Yeah, so this one is interesting. So I don't want to return anything. So that means that my setup thing not going to even create an element, which is perfect. Because I could have like used this one, but then I need to reset it somehow. Like, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so far it's okay. Yeah, so expanded changes only here. Okay. Yeah, so and this was going to be like the only way I was thinking of using HTML function. And yeah, that didn't happen. So yeah, so now let's try to hide the details body. Right, so it's like that. Oh, interesting. Yeah, our default value is wrong. Okay, so how does that compare to? Yeah, I need to somehow make it like not select stuff. I'm not sure how to do that. We might need to do this in JavaScript instead of HTML. I don't know. Oh, instead of CSS, but okay. So now let's go to the animation stuff. So we have animations for height and opacity. Okay. So if it's display none, it's height 0 and opacity 0. But if it's block, it's height auto and opacity 1. And I just need to add some kind of linear z function. Okay. Okay. It's not happening. Okay, let's get rid of display. Yeah, it should do it slower. Is in and out. Linear. Okay, so let's get rid of opacity and just leave the height. Okay. Does that look like height didn't work? I guess like overflow hidden. Okay. Let's make it way slower. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So animate height auto. Okay. Yeah, so it should be transition height. Huh. Doesn't work. CSS transition height. So I added this transition height. Yeah, so the overflow worked, but where is it here? Okay, overflow hidden. Height 0 transition. Yeah, so I have this code, but it doesn't do anything. Interesting. Okay, so run snippet code. Okay, so this one works. You can Okay, so they do height in pixels. Interesting. You have to set explicit height. Okay. So do they set explicit height then? Yeah, they set auto. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so let's go to ChatGPT. Yeah, so they do height 0, then they just add some height. Where do they get target height? Initial height. Where do they get initial height? Yeah, the measure element. Measure element 1, I guess. Okay. Use max height. Set value. Okay. Okay. Right. I mean, yeah, you just have to like set the value. Then you can do it completely in CSS. Okay, so let's try. So it's max height. Okay, and okay, all right. So yeah, now it doesn't show the whole thing. Yeah, it's very slow. Interesting. So if I do like 100 visual, and then I just set it to, yeah, it says keyboard not accessible. Okay, so let's do this. Yeah, so this is not animated, and let's do this. Yeah, you can animate this. I mean, if we can make, maybe we can make opacity. Opacity is just like animate on a different scale. Could look bad though. Yeah, I'm not sure that works. Okay. Yeah, so I think the question is, can I? So once I animated it to expand, yeah. So what's going to happen with the smaller thing? Yeah, it just works. I mean, it's doing it too fast for a small one, right? Okay, I think I don't like the opacity. Maybe if I do like a smaller opacity. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, yeah. So can I react uh, this event when animation stop? Yeah. So animation end this event that is fired on blah blah blah. Okay. So uh, if I have this thing for details body, I can probably also do the body dot animation and console log event. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, didn't happen. Okay, so use the event name in methods like or set. Okay, is it even supported? Okay, it is supported. Okay, so apply animation. Animation is an element, and I can do animation. Right, so do I need keyframes for the animation? Okay, do I have transition end? Yeah, this is what I need. Yep. Okay, so okay, interesting. So how do I know which of them is end? Time, phase, opacity, but like, do you have value or something? Okay. uh, yeah, so yeah, they look the same. That's why I'm so confused. Okay, but I can just read the expanded value. Yeah, that's. I think that's the way. um, okay. So what am I going to do? So what I can do is that yeah. So if I expand it here, yeah. So it's finished being expanded. Okay. So and now the idea is that if it Okay, can I measure the height though? Maybe that's better idea. Roll height. Okay. That doesn't depend. Okay. So what if I set body max height to this plus pixels? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so it's like winning over the value. I can't set it with a class anymore. Yeah, so okay. So if I do transition start, and I do banded this or 0. The problem is that is it possible that because of something like I do my screen smaller? Yeah. Now on resize I need to recalculate that as well. Yeah, because it can get out of sync. Okay. Yeah, and so when transition ends, transition end, and if it's expanded, it should be just auto. So it's expanded, even if I okay, why is height not auto? Okay, could be typing the wrong thing. Let me check it. Position end. Okay. Okay. Yeah, why do I have two transition starts? Yeah, I'm confused. Why did it stop working? Yeah, I wonder if it just you don't have to return. If you return something, it has like a special meaning. If I will stop returning, will that fix anything? No, doesn't work. Okay, this is confusing. Transition start, transition end. Okay, so why doesn't it do it here? So if I just remove it, okay, something is happening. Okay, so this code worked. Yes, let's do this. If expanded, okay, so now auto. Okay, auto doesn't work. Initial. Okay, initial works. So go back again here. Initial. Okay, now if we do this, slides back too quickly. I don't know what that means. So transition start. Yeah, so yeah, animations are not easy. Animations are not easy. Okay, so it seems like we're doing something wrong here. Yeah. Okay, so if expanded, do this. If I get rid of this, it closes too fast. Yeah, it closes too fast for some reason. It animates the opacity though. Okay, so I'm going back to my over the thing because I was thinking that I can show something fun, but nope. Okay, so I have to run right now, so I'm going to finish streaming right now. So what I tried is I set in height to mean content. So it's not possible to show like less than a content. So we show this page, if we make it like smaller and stuff, it will make sure that the whole thing fits or does it. Okay, so what's happening? Wow. Okay, it didn't work. It looked like it worked. No, it didn't. Yeah, so meme content didn't win for some reason. Yeah, so I'm giving up and going home. Bye everyone.